Tillotama, finally we are doing our interview, and I'm so excited to be in conversation. So thank you for joining me on Filme Shilmy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anuj.
So I mean, last year was quite special as you had quite a few successes. I mean, you had Mentalhood, and then of course you had Chintuka birthday, and now you're kicking off 2021 with the Netflix sort of release of Sir. How would you best summarize the year gone by? I mean, it must be quite rewarding for you as an actor to be in this position, right?
Bilkul, Anuj. It's just that the whole of last year has been difficult for all of us, for different reasons and for reasons that are also very universal. And I think last year was a year where I actually did not think about work at all. I was very grateful for being able to do what I do, being able to have a profession that I actually love. But honestly, I think life around um, was so challenging. The times were so challenging. The reality that one had to,
Yeah.
not just in your own life, but just have to contend with on a daily basis the kind of suffering. So, it was really, I think it goes without saying that, it's perhaps been the toughest year for many of us, for all of us. And so it's really I don't know, it's a mad coincidence or some kind of poetic, universal, cosmic encouragement that 2020 also happened to be the year where a lot of my work, films that I had done, some time ago, they all released in that one year. It was like a
Yeah.
universe's, I think, way of encouraging me to continue and to not give up and continue on this journey.
Yeah.
But honestly, I was too deeply involved in the personal and to even think about the professional. But I'm very grateful. But I think maybe I think it just goes to show that maybe a sense of detachment is perhaps the the best. You know.
Absolutely. But I think it's also great that, actors like yourself and many others as well, who broke through last year. I mean, like, for example, Pratik Gandhi, just as a
Yes.
name that
Oh
I
my
can
God.
think of.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
quite wonderful to see all of you actors who have been working in this industry for so many years and now
Yes.
getting
Yes.
that recognition. It's almost like you
Yes.
guys making your debuts in many ways. Like
Yes.
that's what I found really
Yes. Yes.
interesting. I don't know if you felt the same as well.
Mm, I actually um, have been on this journey for now 20 years.
Mm,
And
exactly.
so it doesn't, nothing feels like a short trip or a vacation or a sudden high, nor is one really searching for or looking for things to suddenly turn around. I don't
Right.
believe in that anymore. I think because it's been a 20-year long journey, I think the one thing I feel is the patience,
Sure.
and I really feel that a lot of my colleagues and my peers who are wonderful actors have actually just been patient. I mean, they
Yes.
have just been patiently working away from the limelight, away from the spotlight, on their craft. And what reassures me is when I see my peers out there doing the kind of work that they're doing and getting the kind of appreciation from the audience. I just believe that it kind of restores your faith, na? Ki,
Mm.
in those old adages of hard work pays off, and which people laugh at, but I feel like there you go, it
Absolutely.
does. And there's a certain integrity, and there's a certain, like, when you've been working really hard and you're kind of used to no one really noticing it,
Yeah.
or very few noticing it. You start realizing that, okay, doesn't matter, I'll just keep at it.
Mm.
And I think there's a kind of freedom in that.
Yes.
I so I, na so na, and I think that is not like I don't care, and show the middle finger to the world kind of thing at all, but actually a genuine sense of freedom. You know.
Exactly. A form of healthy detachment, like you mentioned, and I think
Yes.
that's what's
Yes.
important.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes.
So I think Indian cinema as a whole has come very much leaps and bounds in terms of the dreary representations and the very gloomy representations of widows in India. And I think
Mm.
Sir,
Mm.
in a way, offers a sense of hope to widows as well, or perhaps women who have lost their spouse in contemporary India. And I think that's something which I really, really loved the most about the film. I mean, what were you inspired by to delve into Ratna's character? And sort of to understand her surroundings and to bring that sort of alive. What was your main inspiration behind that?
Um, I think in terms of inspiration, one was, of course, my own guilt,
Mm,
which was fueling the work in a
yeah.
big way. Because, you really think you're a nice person and you've kind of grown up being made to feel that you're not so bad, or so your friends and family tell you. And then you read a script like this, and you actually realize that uh, you're not, you're not that progressive actually, because I have internalized the class divide so deeply in my own life that I don't think about falling in love or dating someone across class. I have actually never thought about it.
Mm,
I've sat in a taxi and never looked at the person driving me in India, but I have checked out the cab driver in New York or France. Is he cute or not? But I've never done that. So what does it say about me? And I'm giving you a very facetious example. This was a
mm,
very facetious example, but I'm just saying that um, I realize that while many of us may do the least by being fair,
mm,
employers to the people who work in our home, pay them on time, treat them well, treat them with respect. I think what the film is really trying to ask us is, how real is that respect, and is love possible across class? And my answer to that was, well, I've never even gone there. I've never allowed myself to go there, and
mm,
it actually reveals how class bound I am. So I think that personal guilt was a big fuel.
mm,
And the second thing was Rohena's note to me, which was like a through line for me through the whole film, was that no matter how indignifying Ratna's situation is, she never loses her sense of dignity. You know,
mm. Yes.
and uh, and I think that became like the steering wheel. That no matter what scene I was doing, I was very aware of the fact that she is somebody who's inherently dignified, and uh, and is full of that richness of someone who has that inherent dignity, and no one can take it away from her. So I held on to that, and I think that really helped me navigate through the film. Yeah.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think that's very, very well put as well. And given the fact that you played a bit of a house help before in Monsoon Wedding, I remember
Mm-hmm.
Alice, and I loved
Mm-hmm.
Alice's story as well. I think that was such a cute sort of angle that we had in the film. And I kind of read up actually before we were well, whilst preparing for this interview, and apparently Roena did say that she wasn't sure how you would feel about doing a role like Ratna because you
Yes.
had done
Yes.
Alice
Yes.
before. So what was it like when she approached you? I mean, what was your expectations, or and how did that sort of change significantly after you heard the narration of the film?
It was not a narration because I don't like narrations. I feel very awkward in narrations. I like reading the script. I like reading the script by my own self in my room, and because it's like reading a book. You
Yeah.
read a book and you make your own meanings between in between the lines. But if someone read it out for me, they put their meaning into it in the reading.
Right.
So I like my first reading of a film to be my own, what I took away without any kind of manipulation. So I read the script. And about the maid, yes, I was. The first reaction was, oh no, 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 because it's. I mean, I'm so thankful to Mira for making me fall in love with cinema, for making me fall in love with film, with the opportunity that she gave me with Alice. And she really opened up the world for me in ways that I will never be able to repay her. And because she was the one who was behind, not just giving me a part as beautiful as Alice, but also she showed me a bit of the world, because when the film premiered at Venice, London, and Toronto, um, she insisted that Nasiruddin Shah and I travel with the film, and I had never even sat on a plane
Oh, wow.
before that. So yeah. So she's like, it was not just my first film; it was also someone who saw in me this desire to really. My knowledge of the world was so through books, because I was just like reading so much, and she wanted to show me a little bit of the world, and because of the film, like I think the armchair reader in me got to actually travel all these incredible spaces, and I started understanding that the world is so small in many ways, and the power of film, So I'm so grateful for that to her, there's not a day that goes by where I don't give her PR and thanks for for Alice. But what did also happen as a result of that was people would only offer me roles of people who were really marginalized, or in society, or part of or came from a social class that was underprivileged. Basically, Anuj, what happens is when you make a career out of playing parts that are characters that are underprivileged and in the fringes of society, there was a certain sense of guilt that accompanies playing characters that are so marginalized when one comes from such a place of privilege, So I was getting a bit tired of playing characters that are that have it so tough, and characters that come from sections of society that have so little, you know. So when Rohena did offer me the part of Ratna and asked me to read the script, and she told me what the part was made. My first reaction was like, no, because it has taken so long to get out of that kind of that strong sense of stereotype that one had fallen into, and filmmakers could only imagine me in a certain way. But I am so glad, because when I read the script, I realized I don't care. I don't care what people think again, and if it means for 10 more years again I'll be asked to play the part of a maid, I'll take it on, because I think what was on those pages compelled me to take it up, because I think I needed to do it for some sort of personal reconciliation. I was invested in the politics of the script, and I felt that in the doing of this film, perhaps I would be able to assuage my guilt, and maybe move towards being a slightly better person who lives in a world which is, where I can navigate through it in a more fair kind of way. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can see what you mean by a little bit of guilt, because perhaps, like you said, because when we are in a bit more of a privileged or a better off position, I mean, to put it in a very lame terms, I guess it kind of puts that onus on you as an actor to make sure it doesn't come across as tone deaf, right? Is that what you mean by guilt?
Okay, it's not a simple feeling. Like I said, as an actor, when I started out, I felt my job is that of an actor. Yeah, it's to interpret a character, and it doesn't matter what social class, whether the character is morally upright or morally depraved. It's just a character I'm playing. It has no reflection to who I am. So that's how it started off, and I started getting parts that were very intense. Or bordering towards more tragedy or intensity, and it just so happened that they also belonged to a class, a social class, the lower social classes, and perhaps people felt safe in casting me in a character from a socio-economic milieu that they had already seen me in, and they didn't want to risk seeing me in any other way, and it was fine for some time. But after some time, it started feeling, one, I don't want to make a career out of playing characters that are
Mm.
poor, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And two, uh, aesthetically, artistically, it was getting boring to just to play certain shades, more often than others. And I was greedy. So that was, the second thing. And the third thing is that if despite these two things, I really do want to play a particular character because the script is so compelling, because the project is compelling, then I really need to make sure that I do my homework, and I really need to make sure that I, in no way, make the character caricaturish,
Mm.
a stereotype, uh, an amalgamation of my idea of what a domestic help is.
Mm.
I didn't want to create or refer to any template that existed in my own head of what Ratna should be like. I just read her script, and the through line was dignity. So,
Wow.
that's it. Yeah.
That is incredible. And I think just hearing your experiences and just your ideologies of how you got Ratna itself is very fascinating. And I just think that that's what I love the most about you, Tillotama. It's like you really up jo bhi rolls up karti ho, aap usme ghus jati ho. And I think that's something that's so important for an actor, right? Like you have to actually be a comedian sometimes, I presume, because you have to really get into the depths of that character. I mean, but what do you think satisfies you the most about being an actor and being in the industry?
What satisfies what satisfies me about being in the industry is, hmm, I think it's some of the my colleagues, you know,
Mm.
uh, who have really pushed me uh, to look at my work differently, who have really challenged me. Some of my peers, whose feedbacks have not, whose feedback has been very honest and very incisive. Uh, they may not post it on public forum, but they'll tell me, that scene, there
Mm.
was that, and I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful for colleagues who are equally excited about their work and their process. Like to work with someone like Vivek Gomber, Gitanjali Kulkarni on a film like this. There are people who come with such enormous, commitment to their craft that I think for me the most satisfying thing is my journeymen and women. The people I've journeyed with. They've been incredible.
Mm.
They're really like my co-actors, some of my directors, the crew that are like, I still remember Vandana Kataria from Shanghai,
Yeah.
the production designer. She was incredible. There's a scene in Shanghai where um, I uh, I confront Kalki's character because I have a feeling, I know that she's having an affair with my husband. And the scene is just in this particular angle, and the camera is set in this angle.
Mm.
And I'm in the middle of the scene, and at some point I just look this way and I see a dressing table there. And the dressing table is not even in the frame. And in the dressing table, I see all, Kalki's character, all these women, perfume, blah, 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 makeup stuff. And behind some bottle, I see a man's cologne, you know. And
Wow.
and that's when I just looked at that and I realized, so he's been here. Mm. And I didn't have to do anything in the scene. It was all done by Vandana, who had prepped the room, every inch of that room, thinking about the story and how it might help the actors. And so, like I'm giving you an example like that. I have just had the good fortune of meeting just so many incredible, incredible HODs and incredible directors and co-actors and the places that I've, had the fortune to travel to, and the parts of India that I would never have been to had it not
Mm.
been for the films,
Yes.
that one did. So it's really that's the really satisfying part.
Absolutely. And I think in your 20-year career span that you've had, you've had such a varied experience and enriched experience of acting and working with several films, with several people on several different films as well. In fact, I've actually, when I was researching as well, like you've done some very interesting crossover cinema as well, where it's not just Indian, but you've also done like a bit of French as well. you've kind of had these collaborations happening in some of your works. I mean, has the choice of films and content that you've worked been something you consciously decide, or have they just come your way?
No, Anuj, it's I read a script if I like it, and from a very gut level, I feel like this is something I haven't done before, and I'm really terrified about doing it and failing in it, and then I say yes. And honestly, I've never planned that I want to do crossover films or be some kind of mascot for international cinema or independent cinema. No, I've just accepted with grace what I've got, and try to not be bitter about the parts that I've never been offered. Or, when I came to Bombay, the first few films were all international films. The first film was Tess Joseph cast me an Australian film called Waiting City. And I'm so glad I could pay my rent because of those jobs. And I understood that I just have to be patient. Perhaps people in India and the filmmakers then didn't know what to do with someone like me. I don't know what to do with someone like me. Like I have no idea. So I don't blame them. And it takes time, I guess. To understand. So, but yeah, if it weren't for international crossover films, I wouldn't have survived. Yeah, and I'm very, very grateful. And it's really nice. It's really nice to get work from your own home. It's nice for me to work in projects that are completely Indian and
homegrown.
Yeah, it's homegrown, because I feel like, man, it feels like really like a sense of coming home.
Yes.
And because I've lived here, right? Barring the few years that I lived in New York for my studies, I've lived in India and the length and breadth of India, because Baba was in the Air Force. So it feels great to work within the industry here. But I don't think I would have reached this far or survived this far if it had not been for those courageous directors who cast me in their crossover international co-productions and allowed me to build this foundation.
Yes, no, absolutely. And I think every time I speak with actors as well, and I think there's one interview that I did with an actor, and they did tell me one thing, is that there's always a race to the mainstream. Like whatever happens when actors come in, it's never sometimes about getting the awards or the accolades, but it's about reaching the top and sort of reaching the mainstream. Have you ever found yourself to be in that rat race at all, ever, as an actor?
I can't say that I didn't want to be on a cover of a magazine, or thought that that means success. I do think I thought like that, and it made me feel terrible. It made me feel really shitty, because I didn't know how to get on a cover of a magazine. I didn't know what one has to do, and I don't know what it has to do with me at all. But somehow it seemed to be like that was you kind of made it if you were in the cover of a magazine, and I don't know why I fell for that even stupid myth for a second. But there is an entire system that exists. The commerce of making a film, and which an actor perhaps needs to understand. I don't understand it. I'm trying to understand it, but I realize that perhaps I'm not very good at this. This aspect of it. So I'll let it be. I let it be. Like I don't have a PR firm, managing any of my work, which is why I never get to anyone's messages on time, because I'm never able to see them. So I really feel like I'd like to play this hand that life has given me with a sense of with a sense of joy, and not plan it too much. So I'd like to let it be a little organic, and this whole thing of mainstream. I have survived being on the fringes. I love it. I love it because there isn't too much attention. When your film comes out, you will have your 2 minutes under the sun, and a few people will call you and say that, oh, do you want to interview you, like Anuj and others? And then you'll be quickly forgotten again. and until your next film comes out, and people will remember you, and not even you. They'll remember Ratna. They'll remember the character, and in a way, it's nice. That's really nice. I think I've made my peace with it. I like it. I never thought, but of course, when I started, I really wanted to do good work, and the idea of mainstream was that my films must make, my producers must earn back their money.
Yes.
To be a part of a film that's not just good, but a sense of responsibility towards the producers to earn back their money was very, very important. That was really important, and that itself is such a challenge. That for me, that achievement itself, for the kind of films that I've been a part of, that achievement itself feels like enough, and so I have never felt the kind of left out, from the mainstream, because I've never aspired to be part of the mainstream. I've just always wanted to be working, to be working in things that I like.
Right.
And if it makes it to them, if it even touches shoulders with the mainstream, and it's great. And if it doesn't, it's great too. But yes, of course, there were times when one felt like, oh, one is not successful because one hasn't, like the example of,
Right.
being on a magazine cover. But one soon realized that, when I spoke to actors who've been there and done that only if that could make you happy,
Yeah.
So it's really, it's not a, it's,
Pinnacle.
I think one just, I think being able to do what you like doing, and for your film to reach its audience, like, I think, sir, for me, the kind of love that, it's really the love that people have given this film. Its success is entirely because Rohena Gera, our director, knew that this film will connect with the audience. Nobody else believes that. No producer, no distributor, no platform, nobody believed that with actors like Vivek Gomber and me and Gitanjali, that this film is going to, reach the audience. But the audience have claimed the film, so this is, for me, as mainstream as it gets. When your film is, the audience have claimed your film, they've made it theirs without being nudged by any big PR machinery to like it, so for me, this is a huge encouragement कि boss, ठीक है, आप मतलब margins में खेल रही हैं, खेलते रहिए, because ये काफी सुंदर है, जो हो रहा है, जितना हो रहा है वो काफी सुंदर है, and it's very manageable to have a normal life now,
Yes.
I can go buy my vegetables, come back home, I have the time to take care of my home and do my work, and so one can lead a balanced life and do the work that one does, and so I guess it's okay to not be in the mainstream.
Absolutely. And I think also, thankfully, we have the OTT platforms and the digital platforms now, which have, in a way, have kind of become a middle ground, for contents and talents across the board now. At the same time, where we're watching, let's say, a Delhi crime, we can watch a money heist on Netflix at the same time, on the same place, which is incredible. So how effective and advantageous has the digital space or the OTT platforms been for you so far as an actor?
I mean, well, the biggest, like I said, I think Sir on Netflix has really, it's only been 2 days, so it feels a bit strange because it kind of released on Saturday, right? And we're on Monday. So it feels really weird. In 2 days, ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है कि number 2 film trending in India is, हमारी छोटी सी film. So I'm not an OTT, seasoned player. So for me, this is all very, very new. Mentalhood was the one, and now, and of course, Chintu Ka Birthday released on Z5, and now it is
Sir.
And Sir here. So I haven't done unlike many of my colleagues and peers who have done wonderful work on the OTT platform. This is really, I'm quite a bacha when it comes to the OTT platform. So let's see. But openings have been very warm, and so let's see how the journey ahead is. You know.
Definitely.
Uh,
Absolutely. And I think also, Tilotma, after Sir, I think it's just left us yearning to see more of you, I think, as an actor, and Vivek as well. I mean, as you know, I'm a big fan of Vivek's work. And I think seeing you both, I think was just so wonderful. Like even yesterday when I rewatched the film, the camaraderie, the chemistry you both shared was incredible. Like, oh, it was just so beautifully done. But anyways, because we're now yearning to see more from you, what sort of projects are you working on now?
Um, well, there are three films that I'm really looking forward to, but they may all get pushed in terms of timeline because of the pandemic. But one is Reema Das's film, her next
Oh,
film. Then is Anoop Singh's film. Um, and the third is it's a debut director called Soumyananda Shahi, but he's a phenomenal DOP. He has shot films like Bale Kempa, Nasir, Ibaleu. You know, his work is really
mm,
quite. I really look up to him, and I'm very excited that in his, you know, I'm getting a chance to work with him on his debut film. So these are three films that I have said yes to, and I'm looking forward to, and the rest I'm reading and trying to figure
yeah.
what to do. But these are the three. Yeah.
Well, I am very, very excited. I think all three filmmakers that you just named are absolutely remarkable. And I think I'm very excited to see the work emerging. And I think what's happened is because of lockdown and the style of contents that we've been able to consume, it's just given us this pump of seeing more meaningful cinema, like cinema which is so like uh which is has that art element, but yet it's so real and yet so compelling. And I think that's something that we're all looking forward to. And I
Mm,
can't wait to see more
mm,
from you as well, Tilotama, on that note as well.
mm. Thank you. Anuj, I'm very happy that you have time to see so many films. I have no time because I have so much housework. And but it's great. I'm very glad. So many people say the lockdown, I saw this, I saw that, and I'm looking at them like, wow, that's nice. I haven't seen anything, you know. So it's yeah, it's nice. It's nice how we have all uh, coped with this lockdown in such different ways, and you know, whatever encourages anyone and gives anyone a sense of hope in these really difficult times is great, you know.
Absolutely. But so great to kind of do this interview with you. I've been waiting for so long and I'm just so glad. कि चलो
I know, I'm
2021.
so sorry. I'm so sorry for the delay. I just yeah,
Hopefully this will be
it
the
just took
first
so
of
long.
many. So I'm just very
Yes,
excited to kind of
yes.
catch up with you again when your next projects
Thank
sort of
you.
come to surface and come to light. But wishing you all the very best, Tilotma, for this wonderful
Thank
lineup of
you.
films, and of course, Sir, which is a beautiful film and is available to watch
Thank
now
you.
on Netflix. So thank you so much, Tilotma. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Anuj. Please take care of yourself.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.